welcome to Story Van TV. We're doing a Health for the Holidays series, and we are very blessed to have Victoria Spencer Patterson from Total Life and Wellness. She's a coach and a lifestyle strategist. Um, Victoria really helps with our well being and resilience. That's a big one at this time of year, as well as reclaiming ourselves after um, loss and change, which can really throw us off kilter sometimes. But she integrates the physical, the emotional, the spiritual, your occupation, your intellectual. And this is really important too, the social and cultural aspects of what's going on with us, so that you can have, a achievable journey to your health, so you can really get to where you want to be. But this time of year especially, it's a wonderful thing. And what's exciting today is Victoria is going to share a few things about her own story, and also that things that you can do to make your life the best ever at this time of year. So, Victoria, thank you for coming on to Storyvan TV. We look forward to hearing a little bit about your journey.
Well, thank you, Bonnie. I am honored to be here to share with you and with everyone else today. As you said, I'm a coach and a career and lifestyle strategist. I've been doing this for some time. I was doing it in the corporate workspace for some time, and I ventured out on my own by default after suffering a health collapse back in 2018. I was actually caring for my husband who was in a car accident, and I was driving, and my sight went gray. I had been dealing with some health conditions of my own, but they were manageable. And all of a sudden, the ground came out from under me. And as a person that was used to being in control, that was used to being very active, health wise, business wise, career wise, it was a difficult circumstance to deal with, no longer being in control, no longer being able to take care of myself. I went through a period of time where I had to adjust to a new normal. And this was before COVID. So this was pre-COVID, pre-lockdown. And I had to come to terms with, how do I face this challenge, which was a different challenge, because it was something that I could not control, something that I could not dictate. And it was different, it was different for me. And what I found now is that I have been able to take my experience in facing those challenges and help others, walk alongside others who are facing similar challenges.
So, along our journeys, all of us are going to have these, twists in the road, and
Mhm.
it sounds like you really hit a big one. And I resonate with that as having had a similar experience. So tell me, what did you do for yourself? What did you learn, and what can you share with us of that thing that helps us just get through these trying times of something that could be very scary, number one, very
Mm.
scary. And you're also, what I heard is you're taking care of yourself and working with your helping your husband as well.
Well, he's better now, so thank God. He's now went through a period of time where he had to take care of me and still does. But I think the biggest lesson that I learned um, was compared to the frenetic person that I was, the really busy person that I was. I was the person that, would wake up at 4 o'clock, be in the gym by 6 o'clock, be at work for a 12 to 14-hour day, and then sometimes still go to the gym in the evening, and then start all over the next day. I would travel for work, um, had lots of responsibilities, volunteered a lot, um, loved my family, did a lot with family. And then when I couldn't, it was a different circumstance. And, the body may stop, but the brain does not. Like the brain is used to still going frenetically, it's used to still focusing on, a dozen things at one time.
Mhm.
And I think the greatest lesson that I learned was to pause, to take a
Mhm.
moment, to breathe and to really take stock of where you are.
Mhm.
And I think in doing that, not only is there a realization of the experience that you're in, but it's also a moment to appreciate the loss, but also what you were able to accomplish. Because I think so many times we focus on just the loss and not the accomplishment. And if we take time to celebrate what we had before we mourn the loss of what we had, I think it's easier to get to the next step and over that hurdle of
Mhm.
loss.
So, do you help people climb up and over that mountain of stuckness of maybe where they're stuck in the maybe even being angry of what happened to them? Because again, I know if we live long enough, something's going to happen. And bumping into that, like that wall. What's the tool or tools that the breathing is amazing? Were there other tools that you encourage people to you walk them through that journey that they can get to the other side of that mountain?
Yes, facing fear and understanding, and this is a conversation I had on yesterday, understanding that help is often necessary, and not to be afraid to ask for it. And help can come from anywhere. It can come from family, it can come from friends, it can come from your community, um, and it can come from professionals. I know a lot of people shy away from asking for professional support, but sometimes it's necessary. Um, and at the right time, it is, I mean, amazing, and it can get you to the next step. And professional support can come in the form of coaching. It can come in the form of psychological support. It can come in the form of so many means of support, but it has to be the right support for that person. And we all know what works best for us. But the first step, I think, is realizing when that help is necessary and what that help is that is right for us as individuals.
Mhm. Who do you love to work with and partner with the most? Uh, who is your that person that you know that you can make a difference in their life?
You know, um, Initially, I wanted to work with women over 50 that were facing change, whether it was personal or professional, because I identified with them. I'm a woman over 50 that, lost a career that I had worked in for, you know, more than 25 years, collectively. And, I understood, it resonated with me, that feeling of loss of that career, because there's an identity there, whether we realize it or not, that is tied to the workplace, especially when you've been in it for a number of years. So that was where I felt comfortable. It was my sweet spot. But what I have realized is that sense of loss, that challenge when there is change of that magnitude, resonates with a number of people, not just women over 50. So I
Mhm.
have found that my clients that are facing that type of challenge come from so many places. I have worked with women over 50. I have worked with college students. I have worked with um, men and women in ministry. That has been a huge pool of my clients as of late. Um, I have worked with some nurses, some doctors. I have even worked with, and this is weird because we're in a similar medium, but some psychologists who are facing, been such an influx of patients for them that balancing their workspace and balancing their workload has been a huge challenge for them. So while I have a sweet spot for clients and people that I like to work with, I can't say that I don't enjoy working with any group or any type of challenge that has been brought to me.
That's very exciting because what it means is that you obviously are able to resonate because I know you're a mom
Yes, I
and
am.
you're a wife and you had a you know a career, so you've experienced your bulk of experiences touched many things, and so you're able to see a little bit more. And being a life strategist, sometimes I know that I couldn't even see from another viewpoint, and having someone like yourself to see, listen, I know you're a fabulous listener, and listening in and finding out what is that person going through, and maybe the different avenues they could take to get where they really want to go, because we can't always see because we've got
Right.
too much in front of our face. And what would that look like for someone to work with you? How do you start the journey with them?
Well, I think it depends on the person. I think one thing that makes a difference with me is I am still on the journey myself. So I am still in recovery. I am not 100% healthy myself yet. I'm still on that journey. I'm still walking that path. So I think I understand and I relate to my clients a lot. So when someone comes to me and they're struggling and they know what they would like to do, but they're not quite sure how to do it, I think we can have that conversation and determine small steps that we can take that are sustainable. Because I think what happens with a lot of people is they have lofty goals and they have these major life changes that they would like to make. But when they're unable to attain those major changes, and they start comparing themselves to others, it becomes a discouragement. So, what I like to do and what has been successful is working on those changes that make a huge difference in your life, but are not a major step to overcome in your everyday.
Mhm,
And I have found that that has been the most beneficial to the people that I work with on a regular basis.
mhm. I really like that because if it's too big or lofty of a goal, often we just go, "Ah, never mind."
Right.
But if it's, I always love the analogy of eating the elephant a bite at a time. You know,
Mhm.
it's just a little bit, and as you're, I'm trying to think who said this. It's just get 5% better, and each time you get 5% better, it accumulates,
Right.
not this way, but it accumulates like this.
That's right.
And so, and if we can at least do 5% better, we feel enough better to want to do a little more.
To take another step, to take another
Yeah, to
step.
take the next step, another step.
Right.
And do you have anything for our audience today? Something simple they could start right now that would be helpful for them, especially through this season? You may be a caregiver for someone, you may be a mom, you may be just working in a job that gets really stressful this time of year, or as many people just found out, they got laid off
Hmm.
within a tweet, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what could they do right now to help them through these trying times?
Be selfish. And I know that is, frowned upon. I know selfish is a bad word.
Mhm,
But my mother would say to me when I was younger, when I was older, even as an adult, you cannot draw water from a dry well. If we do not replenish ourselves, take care of ourselves, if we are not healthy ourselves, we don't have anything to give out to others.
mhm, mhm.
So
I love
while we
that.
all want to take care of someone else, while some of us need to take care of someone else, we cannot do it if we don't have the strength to take care of ourselves first.
Mhm. That's beautiful. You cannot draw water from a
From a
dry
dry
well.
well.
That is really a great piece of advice that your mom gave you.
Mhm.
And I encourage everyone right now, write it down and post it in your bathroom on the mirror. And it could be taking 5 extra minutes in the with yourself in the morning to do your hair a little bit
Yes,
more, or to give yourself your own back massage, or to
whatever.
whatever it takes, because it's not a lot each day, but that 5% more. And so, what are some of the things you're doing for yourself, Victoria, of that little helpful selfishness, which is not, as you said, a bad word. It's selflessness in a sense.
Right.
And I know for myself, I love a morning cup of coffee and just a quiet time. I'm telling you, I literally have to have that, and then I do a. It actually comes up on my phone, have a prayer and but I'm having my coffee. It's not a
Right.
lot of coffee. I want my coffee, and just to be, whew, and then I can do the day and then stop other times of the day. What are some of the ones that you love for your self care?
Well, I went through a period of time where I was so sad about my condition because I couldn't do the things that I used to do. I could no longer do my yoga classes. I couldn't go on hikes. Um, and walking is difficult. So it was a matter of being grateful for what I could do, be grateful for where I was. So I started keeping a gratitude journal, and it was
Mhm,
finding three things every day that I was grateful for, even if it was something small. So I make sure every day,
mhm,
you know, I thank God for those three things. I'm grateful for those three things.
mhm.
And then my guilty pleasure is British TV. Anything British TV, British mysteries. That's my guilty pleasure, right?
Oh, I think that's
It
my
makes me
husband's
smile. Yeah.
Broadchurch.
too.
Yeah. It's my guilty pleasure.
Yes. Well, I think that that's the fun part. I think do you think that we need to have more fun?
I think so. I think so. We need to smile more. We need to laugh more. We need to find joy in things more, and not extravagant things, in the simple things. I think
Mhm,
we've lost the ability to find joy in the everyday. I think we look for things to be overly complicated. I
yeah.
mean, and for me, when I went from being really healthy to not, there was a joy in, like, now I get excited when I can go up and down the stairs three times and not be out of breath. It's like, whoa, it's like it's a big thing, right? But you don't think about those things. You take them for granted for so long.
Mhm,
So when you are able to really, I think, acknowledge um, where you are. And like for someone else, it may be running a marathon, right? That's their point of gratitude. But we each have that point where we can say, "Wow, I'm really, really thankful for this," or "I'm really, really great." But to
mhm,
take that moment, take that pause, and
mhm.
acknowledge it before we move on to the next thing.
I like that. So I'm going to encourage everyone today to go and buy yourself a little journal. And I often recommend that to have a journal itself, and then in it I write all sorts of things. And the fascinating part is going back into the journal, the gratitude journal, and you look to see maybe there's a theme running through it. Maybe they're all different things, but after a while, that habit energy, I think that's what you're teaching us right
Yes,
now. The habit energy of doing something over and over again builds our resilience muscle.
yes,
Hmm.
positive muscle. Because I
Hmm.
think a lot of times we fall back into, looking for things that don't work. So this is rebuilding the tendency to look for things that do work, things that are going forward, things that are working well. And you will fall out of the habit of noticing all the negative, of noticing the things that are going the way you don't want it to go.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I guess one of the fun things I do is, and it doesn't always work, but expect it to be a good day.
Yes,
Expect things to work. And yes, a lot of times they don't work. And then you go, okay, our car got stuck in the snow and we're going to be digging it out today. And so, well, how can I look at that? Oh, I'm going to get some exercise today, that sort of thing. I
right.
want to touch base on because they call it the sandwich generation that you and I are. We've got elder parents often, there's kids underneath, and then there's family and friends.
Mhm.
And suddenly you start seeing people struggling or going through things. And I feel it sometimes, oh, there's a lot going on. And so it's like, how can we help someone next to us? Maybe they're an elder that's farther away, you know, or maybe they're right there. Can you give maybe both examples of helping a family member or relative that
Yeah,
you're actually not close to physically, but you would like to help?
I think whether someone is close by physically or far away, I think it's important to listen, to be there, to check in. I think the sound of someone's voice, just saying hello, I was thinking of you, I wanted to make sure you were okay, that's huge. I think we learned that lesson during, the COVID lockdowns when we couldn't physically be together. We learned the meaning of a phone call. We learned the meaning of, a Skype call or a FaceTime or a Zoom. We learned how valuable that is when you cannot be physically close. And I don't think we should lose that now that we're able to physically get together. Um, don't go months without speaking to someone, don't go weeks without speaking to someone. Make sure you check in, make sure you see that they're okay, make sure that everything is well, right?
Mhm.
I remember, and I'm probably dating myself, but we used to send letters and cards and, that physical touch. You were sending something tangible that that person could touch that came from you to them.
Mhm.
Maybe
Mhm.
that's a habit we should go back to.
Absolutely. Well, I just want to say to our audience, make sure to reach out to Victoria on LinkedIn. And she's got a beautiful website called Total Life and Wellness. Go out and check it out. Reach out to her and find out. I know in January, exciting news, she's got something coming up, and we want to make sure that you're in queue for that, because we can learn a lot from someone like Victoria who listens and has a bigger perspective than maybe we can even see ourselves. And whether you're an executive somewhere and you're feeling stressed, or maybe caregiving, or a mom or a teenager, we all need a coach. We all need someone to hold our hand. And it may be a family member or maybe not. And so that's my encouragement to be healthy and happy through this holiday season. Take those deep breaths, take care of yourself. Victoria, thank you so much for being on with us today on the Healthy Wealthy Camper and Story Van TV and health through the holiday season here. We really appreciate you. And her website, as you saw, was there. And check that out. And we will meet again soon. And
Soon.
happy holidays.
Thank you, Bonnie. Happy holidays to you as well. Bye bye.
Bye bye.